Hi everyone. In this session we would be seeing SAPUI5 and the overview of it, how it works, why has it come into place, and what are its uses actually. So SAPUI5 is a product of SAP which was priorly called as Phoenix. SAP acquired it from Phoenix and named it as SAPUI5. It's basically what you can say a platform where you develop web applications for any device. I mean, you can develop web applications for desktop, you can develop web applications for tablet and mobile as well. Not only that, you can even develop applications for Windows, Android, and iOS and BlackBerry. So it is a platform where you develop applications for any device, any OS, with only a single effort and single cost. It's not like any other development tools like Android, you may say Android development or iOS development, where it is very much native to what you develop it for. SAP UI5 gives you that option that you develop something and club it with those libraries. I mean, club it with those Android libraries to work it for Android devices, or build it with iOS level app so that it becomes an iOS app and you work it on Mac or iPhones. So, as you might have heard of the term MVC, when you come to any web application development, not only SAP UI5, any web application development where you develop a web application, it follows a structure, more generalized structure known as MVC, where M stands for model, V stands for view, and C for controller. So, what is this model? Model is a temporary data container. What do you mean by temporary data container? So let's not take it as the data source or the database for an application, because when we use an application, you know we need a data to be fetched from a data source. More, in many cases it's SAP for SAP UI5. So when you fetch the data from SAP, you need to store it somewhere on the application's end, on the client end, temporarily till the scope of the application exists. So that container which temporarily remains with the application is called the model. Means you fetch 10-15 records, you put it into a model on the client end, on the application's end, you work it with them, you prepare a report with them, and then when you close the application, that data gets erased. So that is model. So let's not get confused with let's not get club get confused with what a data source is and what a data model is. Here the model means a temporary data container which remains on the application's end, used for reporting, for showing, or downloading Excel sheets, but it will only be there till the point the application exists. Next is our view. View, as in normal sense we understand, is a UI screen, a screen which you know is required or is required by the user for interacting, for pushing in some operations, like he wants to see a report on the screen, he wants to insert an employee, he wants he wants some approvals to be given, he wants to delete some data. These all are done through a user screen. A normal user screen what we use in our daily life is the view. And the last thing is my controller. Controller turns out to be the nervous system of the application, because this controller is the one which has or holds the business logic from the application layer part. For example, you are having data in the model, you are having the screen, but This controller, without this controller, you will not be able to fetch the data and show it onto the screen. You need some filtering to be done. So this is done by controller. You need to push some data to the backend. This is done by the controller. So all the logical part is done by the controller. Next, what is this SAPUI5? Because when we start SAPUI5, you might be having the doubts that what do you need? What are the things which required are required by SAPUI5 or to start SAPUI5? Basically, when you start SAPUI5, you would be needing you might not be an expert, but you would be needing HTML5's knowledge to some extent. You would be needing JavaScript, you would be needing CSS and XML. Mostly we'll be using XML and JavaScript, but while debugging an application or the screen, you need HTML, and to build a very rich interface, very colorful UI, you need CSS. Now we'll see how an SAPUI5 project or landscape works. In SAPUI5 project, we have three layers. One, the data layer, where we have the data. This data layer is not the model what we have seen in the MVC architecture. This data layer is the actual database which stores the data, which has all the tables, which has the records within it, a proper well-defined data layer with well-defined data structure. Then we have the gateway layer, which takes the data out from the data layer and pushes it to the UI layer. UI layer is a layer where we have the front end part, the screen part. The UI does not have that much power where you can directly penetrate into the database and fetch the data. You need something, you need a layer in between which does this transformation, this handshaking between the UI layer and the data layer. That is the gateway layer, where we build our REST services or OData services which are consumed by the UI5 application in order to show the data on the screen. So this is how the data flow works. UI sends a request to data gateway layer, then the request is sent to data layer. Instead, I must say that there we execute some methods or RFCs depending upon which service is called. Then the data is fetched from the data layer and pushed it back to the UI layer for showing it onto the screen. So this is it, and this is how this is actually the overview of SAPUI5. If you like this video, please do like it and share it. Thank you.